there, and welcome back to Weird Soda for Life. Today, we're in the middle of Monster March. That's right, a whole month dedicated to the fact that I don't sleep enough, I need more caffeine, and I need it in a variety of flavors because I need whimsy so bad. Today, we are trying Monster's Voodoo Grape, and we'll discover if it's the voodoo that they do so well, or if these grapes will make me whine. Ah? Ah? You get it anyway. Welcome back. Again, as I said, we are trying the Monster Voodoo Grape. It's from their juice line. Um, and let's talk a little bit about this. First things first, this flavor is actually new as of this year. In fact, it released in January 6th, 2026, which means that we're only a month and a half or so behind, except this was originally released in New Orleans only on January 6th, 2026, to kick off their carnival season. Carnival, if you don't know, is the season of celebration and feasting before Lent. We may recognize it in New Orleans as the time before Fat Tuesday and then Ash Wednesday and Lent. But yeah, so the cool thing is this actually released for them because it apparently is inspired by New Orleans voodoo. I have some limited thoughts on that. We're going to get to that in a second. Um, After it released for a month, on February 9th, it became nationwide. So it should be widely available wherever you're looking. And I have to admit, before we get into this, I do love grape and I do like Monster, but I feel like there's an elephant in the room before we get any more into this. Um, and maybe I'm overthinking it, and you guys are welcome to say something about that. But I have a problem with the fact that they have paired up voodoo and grape. So hear me out. Um, First things first, voodoo. I am not an expert in voodoo. I do not practice. It is a legitimate, complex religion. It's got deep roots in West Africa. It was brought to the Americas by slaves. Like, let's call a spade a spade. It was brought here by slaves. In New Orleans proper, it's kind of evolved into a practice that blends that African spirituality with Catholicism, right? Because times and things adapt. Um, but we could also note that Hollywood has spent a long, long ass time converting it into just stupid bullshit about black magic and zombies and evil dolls, right? There's a lot more happening in that. Again, I'm not a practitioner, so I don't want to speak about practices that I personally am not familiar with, but let's talk about that again. So we've established that voodoo, however, is a black spiritual thing in New Orleans, at least, and a lot of the culture of North America. Um, and then let's talk about the flavor grape. Historically, grape flavored sodas and candies and things of that nature were aggressively marketed in black and urban communities. Um, it's a stereotype. It's a harmful, massively harmful stereotype that black Americans love grape, whatever, grape flavor, grape anything. It's a trope that trivializes black culture. Um, so I frankly think that by combining voodoo with grape, so a often misunderstood black spiritual practice with a flavor that's tied to a negative stereotype about black people, Monster has created a product that trades on a double layered cultural cliche that is garbage. Like, straight up garbage. It frames this idea of this flavor of mystical and spooky because it's Monster, right? Um, and grape, which kind of evoke kind of a cartoonish, reductive image of black culture in America. Maybe I am taking it too seriously. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I would rather err on the side of trying to address harm than just assuming everything's okay. So I will say sorry if you came to the video to have fun. We will get into fun in a minute. I am going to try it. We will ride or die on this thing. I'll show you the can in a sec. But this is tone deaf. Like, do I think somebody maliciously at Monster was like, yes, let's do this? No, I think they thought voodoo was fun and spooky in New Orleans and were looking for a market where they could drop a new flavor. And I think they figured grape. Grape is pretty solid, it's pretty standard as a flavor. And I think that somebody on their marketing team should have probably caught that and didn't. It doesn't make it any less potentially harmful that they didn't grab that. Um, and frankly, I think it kind of reflects a pattern that we see in Monster about them being edgy and cool and just like their aesthetic is kind of like that, uh, without really grokking that they have created an image here that is probably not probably that isn't okay. Um, I sorry to bring the room down a little bit. I think it's important to note. Um, we will get back now on with the show, but I find this problematic. And if you don't, that's completely fine. But I do. Uh, and I really wish they had picked different imagery. Um, it's pretty easy not to pick an image like that. With that, let's look at the can, though. I do want to give props where it is. Um, I mean, this is a cool design, but again, what am I talking about here? Like, you know, like this is cool, I guess. I mean, I like the color. This is fine, but then we get over here, and again, what did I talk about? The voodoo dolls, the hoodoo paint. Like this is all imagery that I think is supposed to be badass, and I think is taking a narrative that shouldn't be taken like this, right? I would say if I hadn't ruined it for myself, I probably would think this was super cool. But I have. So there you go. We will read the can, as we always do. Um, New Orleans, the birthplace of Louisiana voodoo. Catch it on the right night, and it becomes eerily alive with chanting, incantations, and dancing pythons to lure souls from the other side. Stir your own spirit with the real juice taste of Voodoo Grape. Crafted in the shadows with a full vial of our underworld famous energy blend, it will keep you fired up and feeling good without any bad juju. Unleash the beast! Again, I am exceedingly disappointed. I don't know how to make this video without telling you that this is garbage to me. This is garbage. I guess I'm just going to move on because I cannot bring a lot of joy out of this. I will note, though, because as you note here, juice, that does mean that there's juice in there. And as I read on the can, there's a ton of it. There's white grape juice, there's apple juice, there's red grape juice, and there's Concord grape juice. Heck, there's plum grape juice, plum grape juice, there's plum juice. Um, so there is, in fact, a lot of juice in, you guessed it, monster juice. With that, let's see what we've gotten ourselves into. I'm going to hope it's purple because grape drinks should be purple. So, and in here we go. Oh, look at that pretty purple. It is very pretty. Look at that. So pretty. I like that a lot. Look at that. That matches. You know how I feel about that. And guess what? It smells like grape. It definitely smells like grape in the glass. And with that, bottoms up. You know, the disappointing thing is that I really like that a lot. Like it tastes delicious. It is kind of like drinking it's like drinking fizzy grape juice. It kind of reminds me of like the Welch's like fancy sparkling grape. It reminds me of a lot of the red grape of that. There's a tartness to it that I associate with grape juice. Um it's really really delicious. I like that quite a bit. I will probably not be drinking it again because of the images. Um, I know you can think that's silly because it's just a drink. But it doesn't sit well with me, and so weird soda's got to do what weird soda's got to do. I will not be judging you if I see you out in these streets with a monster voodoo grape. It is delicious. It's a really good flavor. And if they change their can design or name, I will be down to drink it again. But in the meantime, I'll probably just stick with Monster Ultraviolet because that's an energy drink too. That's grape. And in fact, it's zero sugar. So I'll probably just stick with that instead. Um, less guilt that way. Uh, next week, we are, as you can hear, I I don't know if y'all heard that, but the thing behind me started speaking. Next week, we are continuing Monster March with a new flavor, Ultra Punk Punch. It's going to be one of the zero sugar flavors. We'll see how this goes. I'm excited to try it out and see if I feel a little bit more punchy. Uh, until next time, drink weird and I don't know, man. Do your research, or maybe don't, because frankly, it really does ruin a lot of things because I ruin them for myself. So, ignorance is bliss, maybe? I don't know, man. Knowledge hurts. See you next time.